why. I'm busy. And I was just about to start this in my office at home, and I got a call from my husband, and I've got to drive up to Auburn because we're clearing out a house up there. Anyway, why do I tell you this? Because this is part of being a teacher, being busy all the time. So, the purpose of this video, as you can probably tell by the title, is that I want to not push back or punch back or whatever. I just wanted to state why I teach, why I'm not going anywhere, why I still teach. So I will preempt this by saying I'm working on my 28th year as a teacher, and I've taught kindergarten, I've taught 3rd grade, I've taught 4th grade, I've taught 5th grade, and I've taught 6th grade. The only 2 grades I haven't taught are the grades where you really learn to read, right? The act of reading. So I'm taking a class right now just so I can serve those kids that I have that really didn't get that because of the pandemic, who've got halfway through 1st grade, 2/3 through, and then had to leave the classroom. So I'm working on that element of my teaching practice. Again, I say this because that's part of why I still teach. So let me back up and I'll start this off for number 1. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you these in no particular order, although the first one is probably the most important reason that I teach. If I was doing this like they do in Letterman, I would have come backwards. Anyway, so again, I'm kind of mirroring the 5 reasons that this teacher who were to quit, I'm using those ideas and counteracting them to saying, no, here's why I teach. So the first reason I teach is because I want to do something meaningful. So I see what I do as a career. It's not a job. I just hate hearing that word when someone talks about a profession. Because when you have a career or a profession or whatever you want to call it, it's something that you believe in. It's something that you spend time and money on, and it's something that you grow within. I don't think when I worked at McDonald's when I was in high school, I grew within my job as a fast food worker. Not to say that it wasn't important work at the time, because it was, because I learned a ton. I learned how to be a customer. I learned how to be a good customer. I learned how to be a good person. I had a great boss. So I smile when I say that because there's something you can learn from every situation. But getting back to my first reason about teaching being meaningful, there isn't a day that goes by in that classroom of mine that I don't look around and think, you know, somebody's going to remember something from this day, good or bad. But I know that the things kids give me, the letters they write to me, or the pictures they draw for me, or the comments they make, it's not nothing. And I can get on the soapbox here and get out all the things that kids have made for me. I have that, you have that. If you're a teacher and you've taught more than a few years, you've gotten things from your students. And if you haven't, what are you doing? Anyway, my 3rd graders, no, by the way, I have taught 3rd for most of my 28 years. So I would say probably 12 years of 3rd grade. Then the other, you know, the other 16 years, has this been that long? And it's sprinkled into other grade levels. 3 years in kindergarten, here and there, 2 years in 6th grade, 5 years in 5th, like that. It's kind of like that. So, but mostly 3rd grade. And what's really cool about it being meaningful is I have relationships with my students and their families. And so when I'm out and about in the world and I see them, it's so fun to track them and see, you know, like pancakes. How'd you turn out? How'd that go? How are your parents? And a lot of times it'll happen that I'm not quite sure who the student is. Like, you know, if I can do the math of 28 years and 30 kids a year, that's a lot of kids. But beyond that, I'll ask a kid about their family. Oh, it'll explain to me who it is. So my job is meaningful. My job, my career, call it a job. It's a career. And for me, it's not really, people would say, you know, it's a calling. It's a whole other thing. Okay. So, number 2 is, I mentioned when I first started the video just now that teaching helps, you have to have ongoing education. And one of the teachers I watched on YouTube, by the way, there's no shortage on YouTube of teachers who are quitting work and their justifications for it. And I tell you, listen to those long enough, you will hear them whine about what they're not getting out of it and how hard it is. Okay, well, that's my pity party in my head. I hear it all the time. Do I need to tell people that? No, I don't need to tell people that, because there are a gazillion other things in the world that I can't do and I would never do because I wouldn't be good at it. But because I have ongoing opportunities to learn in my career, I'm always learning something new. So this class that I'm taking, it's a hybrid model. It's online, but I'm also, teaching. I'm seeing real people, but I have to use what I'm learning in the classroom. It's called Letters, L-E-T-R-S, and it's really just language. Teaching is how to read, the very basics, phonics, phonemic awareness, all that. And so it's really applicable every day. Even though I teach third grade this year, usually in third grade we go from learning to read to reading to learn. And this year it's a lot of learn to read. We're still there. We're still refining those skills, and it shows up in spelling. The kids are having difficulty with their reading anyway. So I'm always growing. I never thought I'd really have to take classes like this because I have never really been asked to teach first or second grade. I say asked. That's what principals do. They don't really, they ask you, so what grade level you want to teach next year. But they like to keep you at the same grade level because you get better at it. So, but it helps me grow to switch grade levels. And in a lot of ways, too, it helps me to grow with my colleagues. It helps me to have empathy for them, to think, oh, gosh, how could I have lunch at 10:30 in the morning? Well, I'll be a late kindergarten teacher, and they get lunch at 10:30 in the morning, right? Because you have to be on at 11. So, or a sixth grade teacher, and know that, I've got a stack of things to read through tonight and correct. It's going to take me a long time because those kids are writing 5-paragraph essays. It just depends on where you are, but I learn every assignment I get. It's so great, and I grow. It's wild. And I used to think that when you were growing up, you have all the knowledge, you know stuff. Ha! What a farce! It's not true. Grown-ups don't know what we think they know. They don't know all the stuff. They're just still kids in the big bodies. Anyway, that's a whole sidebar. But yeah, I find that teaching is the best opportunity for me just to grow, and it helps me to have patience with myself while I'm having patience with my kiddos. Okay, reason number 3 that I roll my sleeves up and head back into Heidi's Chocolate Hut every day. Reason number 3 is that the benefits that we get in teaching and the pay, it's really better than you think. So I'll be very candid here. This is, I started teaching in 1994, and pay scales, I haven't really switched districts. I switched districts one time early in my career before it really would matter. Because if you move districts in our career, move states and all that, it's kind of a shake-up in your pay scale because they can play with that. So I make 6 figures. I make $103,000 a year, and I work 10 months out of the year. A lot of times lately I've been teaching summer school to learn how to teach kids with special needs because I haven't ever done that. So I've been, not volunteering, get paid for it, but, raising my hand to do that job because we had a shortage. So that not 2 summers ago, but last summer I did 2 summers, I did special ed, and it was really enlightening and fun. It was fun. So I'm at the the very end of our pay scale, but I've got a master's degree, and I did not get my master's degree for the raise. Can you believe that? I got my master's in curriculum and instruction, and the title of my thesis was "Boys May Be Boys, but Do They Have to Write Like That?" And it was about boys, 5th and 6th graders who just, how long does it have to be? How do you motivate those kids? And so there's a lot there, but it was really fun. I loved it, and I had 2 nights off out of the week for a year and a half actually. That my husband had to make dinner and I go to class, so that was fun. But the benefits too. I mean, my whole family, has dental and medical, and it's, again, in my district, our union's pretty strong, and we've had our benefits like that for a long time. And then, of course, if I need time off, I take time off. And if I need to leave work at the bell, I do. So I'm not, bound to stay at school until 5, 6 o'clock every night, like a lot of other jobs you'd have to do. And I certainly have the same schedule as my 3 children have had throughout their schooling, right? My youngest is now just a senior in high school. Oh, gosh, can't believe that. But it's been a great career for a mom because they're in my same district. My husband's the one who always takes time off when we're off because he'll do that. He's a lawyer, so he can calls and shots, I guess. But I tell you what, lots of really great perks about being a teacher. So yeah, there's that. I don't spend a whole lot of money either on my wardrobe. I mean, I guess my husband has to because of what he has to show up and look like. But my wardrobe, it has to be able to be washed in my wash and not dry cleaned, unless it's a back to school night dress. All right, I'm gonna go on. Reason number 4, again in no particular order. So I've talked a little bit about this, but this is why I call this a career. I have security in the fact that I'm a part of a union, and so I really have to do something just absolutely illegal to lose my job. But if you're at a charter school, unfortunately, I'll say this much, which is why I wouldn't ever consider a charter. They can let you go if they don't like what you're wearing that day. They can let you go if they don't like how you said something to a parent. You don't have the same sort of union support we do. At least this is only true for the charter schools in my area that I'm aware of. So please don't jump on me about this. This is what I know and my friends who teach at charter schools, and the 3 teachers we've had come to our school by way of charter schools. Okay, this is just what I've been told. Anyway, so I love the fact that I have job security as far as that goes. And of course, I've been teaching long enough where I'm tenured, but you get your tenure in your first 4 years of teaching, or 3 years, I think. So again, I'm not ever going to be in a position to lose my job because I don't know, I'm just going to not do something stupid. So that's pretty good. Don't do something illegal or stupid. Hey, keep my job. That's pretty good. So the job security part of it is really nice. Again, I call it a job. It's not. It's a career. So I think too, the things I use and how useful I get to be is, gosh, I want to be able to, when I retire, I want to be able to use my skills still. So I don't think I'm going to quit teaching when I quit teaching. I think I'm going to still do something in that capacity. But the security around it is big. And one of the reasons my husband left the private sector in his profession and to work for the public sector as an attorney, I think he was so much happier when we did that. It's as a family. It was so nice. So that pressure isn't there. So lots of security being a teacher. And I'm sorry, but they say that teachers aren't respected in our society. Every time I tell somebody I teach, the next words out of their mouth are, "Oh my God, you're so you're so patient, you're so kind, you're so brave." All those things. I think we're held in high esteem by most people. So I don't know. I don't get that from the parents. They don't respect me. I get it more from my own teenagers in my house. Oh my goodness. Well, I have one teenager at home now, but the other 2 are at college. All right, and then the 5th reason that I still teach, it's fun. I always say, if teaching were easy, we'd call it recess. Yeah, what do you do for a living? Oh, I do recess. Yeah. I do get to do recess. In fact, I think every profession should have recess. If you don't have it, you should create it. Create a recess for yourself. Go outside every day. Somebody had an accident. Do something so you can smell fresh air, hear the laughter of children or birds or whatever. Just, have recess. But I think what I do is fun, and I get to plan that fun. I know I work for, a district, but unless you own your own business, you're probably working for someone too. And there are limits in a lot of professions that you can do to make it fun. I don't have those parameters. I can take any lesson I want to teach, anything, any subject, and turn it into something fun. Because I am a professional and I'm left alone to do that. Now, I will say that I had to work hard to find a position, a space within the confines of a staff to really get me. Every school out there is not for Heidi. There are some schools where I would just keep on driving. Nope, don't want to even interview there. Nope. So there's certain elements that I look for. I've moved schools three times in my career. 28 years, yeah, I think so. Once when I came off of maternity leave. Yeah, but I moved at one time just because the administrator was so punitive and so negative, and I could tell that the kids felt it too, and I thought, gee, I got to treat myself with enough grace that I know when it's time for me to find a different assignment. So I did. I found a different assignment, and it was perfect for me to do. So I did that. And most teachers in their careers will have a run-in with an administrator who just doesn't see eye to eye with them. So I had to find what worked for me. I was not going to change that administrator ever. And so I'm sure that she was effective for certain teachers and certain parents, but it was a bad thing, not good. But I learned from that. I learned what I need. I learned what I wanted, and I learned why maybe some people quit teaching, right? Because that could have been something that made me want to just say, hey, maybe this is the career for me. But I will say that my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, she was a good role model for me in that way, because her situation where she worked wasn't always perfect, but you didn't know it. You'd have never known it. You'd have never known she had difficulty here or there because she didn't show it. And I think that's called having class. Yeah. No pun intended. But she had a lot of passion for the job, but compassion for herself as a human being. And I think that gets lost along the way, right? So anyway, those are my 5 reasons, and if I had enough time, I'd sit on here all day and tell you all the other reasons why I love my career. But the reasons really aren't the breaks we get, and the gifts parents might give us once in a while, which are really nice. But if I didn't have that, I'd still be doing this right now and loving what I do. But yeah, so there's your 5 reasons. Done.